reason why Joe Biden has likely now announced, there's two reasons why he's announced he will do the debate. One of the most interesting ones I've heard is that he is concerned, his team, his campaign, that the Democrats will try to force him out and bring in a new candidate, someone who can probably win. And the reason why they're saying they want to do a debate earlier than normal, they're claiming, oh, it's because people need to hear the debate before early voting begins. Others say it's to force the position so they can't change and they have to have Biden. But I think it's this. This is civics, favorable or unfavorable opinion of Joe Biden. Of course, Democrat doesn't matter. You click Democrat, 79% favorable. I mean, that's kind of bad for the Democratic incumbent. Republicans, of course, unfavorable. Among independent voters, right now, the latest polling from Civics, 27% favorability among independent voters. We pop over to Donald Trump. Of course, Democrats don't like Donald Trump. Of course, Republicans do like Donald Trump. They like him a little bit more than Democrats like Biden. Among independent voters, Donald Trump has a 38% favorability. He's up 11 points. Despite the fact that independents overwhelmingly don't like either of them, Trump is still up by 11 points among independents. In various ways, I plugged that data into ChatGPT, I asked GPT to analyze the 2020 voter data and then looking at how independent voters voted, take the favorability as of today and apply that to independent votes and what would the turnout be. I got varying answers. They were all in favor. They were all Trump wins. It was like one projected a Trump landslide due to this is a huge shift in independent voters. I don't believe that's accurate. ChatGPT is probably wrong. One of them said Trump gets a narrow victory because independents have flipped. That one seems to make the most sense. The weirdest one was without this data. I asked ChatGPT just to take a look at I said, look at 2020's data. Look at the current polls. What will the result be? It's at a tie. 269 to 269. To be fair, some pollsters have projected that is a possibility, which would be wild because the House would then, as Republicans, they'd pick Trump and the Senate as Democrats would pick Harris and you'd get a Trump-Harris administration, which I don't think was really going to happen. But back to the main point, the reason why Joe Biden is agreeing to debate is because he's hurting where it really matters. He's losing young voters and he's losing independent voters. He has no choice but to force to go on the stage. He has no moves left.
Why is he losing young voters?
The Palestine issue.
Is it that?
Well, I don't think so. Palestine actually registers relatively low on voters' issues.
I think it's Palestine. I think it's college debt. I mean, there's data out right now that college interest rates are about to hit a decade high. I mean, he's the guy who continuously promised to give them this future that is not there. He's sending them into conflict internationally. He's charging them like crazy for college. He's not ending federally backed student loans.
Yes, he is. He keeps forgiving more and more student debt illegally.
But they always get tied up in court. Like it's not something that he's done enough on.
What do you mean? It's done. People are posting there like my debt's gone.
There are several millions of dollars tied up in court in this. He did not come through in the way that he told them they would.
Sure, but when you look at what voters are concerned about, economic issues are the top. When you break down the different economic issues, I don't think it's fair to lump them all together necessarily because they put like homelessness as a separate, like hunger, homelessness, and poverty is a different issue from the economy. And I'm like, if you're poor, is that not an economic issue? Immigration as a single issue is charting the highest according to Gallup. And we pulled this up from Nate Silver. Among 18 and 29-year-old voters, like Palestine, Israel was number like 15 out of 16. And number one was economy. Number two was I think it was immigration. And I'm like, across all demographics, immigration, I think it's really simple. You're a Gen Zer and you're wondering why you can't afford to buy a house, why you're living in a shoebox in New York City, why there are no jobs, and then why on the news you're watching them send $100 billion to Ukraine. They brought in 5.1 million people in the past 2 years, according to Center for Immigration Studies. And you're watching them get tax benefits, welfare benefits, luxury hotels. Meanwhile, you're hungry. You can't get insurance. You can't buy a car. You can't buy a house. So I don't know for sure, but I think economy, immigration is a huge issue for Gen Z.